there's a new face at Kean University. After spending 5 seasons at Fairleigh Dickinson, Maura Johnston was named the head field hockey coach for the Cougars earlier this month. As she gets ready for next season, she joins me now to talk about her connection to the sport. Maura, congrats on the new gig, and thanks so much for taking the time this morning.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So, Maura, before we talk about your coaching career, can you talk a little about your sports background and how you ultimately chose field hockey?
That's a great question. It started how every great sports story starts. There were not enough players on our middle school field hockey team. So a friend of mine reached out as I played lacrosse my whole life. A friend of mine reached out knowing I loved sports, and I picked it up pretty quickly from there and clearly have never looked back since it's become my whole life. So.
Well, that's fantastic. And Maura, you're now the 13th head field hockey coach in school history. How did you get the job? Did you apply? Did they seek you out because of the job as head coach you did at FDU? Tell me what happened.
So it was a pretty standard process. I had heard Coach LaFrance was retiring this fall, and it's something I always had my eye on to get back into the NJAC. So it seemed like a great opportunity. And since applying and visiting campus, it instantly felt like an amazing fit. The administration here is fantastic. The team clearly is just coming off of an amazing season, and just building on the culture that Coach LaFrance built feels right. It feels great. So I feel very lucky and privileged to have this position.
And Maura, being that you played field hockey in college, does it make the team easier to coach? And as a follow-up, do you think that gives you an advantage considering not every coach was necessarily a player?
I do think it definitely gives an advantage to, I think field hockey is a really special sport. It's really player driven. So I think being able to have those experiences as a player and to know how tight knit you really need to be successful on the field is definitely an advantage. Something that I find an advantage with this team specifically is my playing experience in the NJAC. The NJAC's a very competitive field hockey conference. It's arguably the best in Division III. So I do think my experience playing in the NJAC has really primed me to be ready to coach in the NJAC. And it's definitely something I'm looking forward to.
Well, Maura, I hope to talk to you later this year to get an update on how everything is going in your first season. But thanks so much for taking the time this morning, and all the best to you and your team.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Of course. Head over to ONNJ.com for the latest news and sports anytime.